Yo, yo, yo. How's it going, everyone? It's Feedback Fridays. What's up, Eidolon? Thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. I'm doing all right. I'm a little bit exhausted / sleepy today. So might end up being a little bit of a shorter stream than Feedback Fridays usually are. But that being said, maybe I'll just try to get right into things because it looks like we already have a few people here that have joined the raffle. Thanks again for the vinyl shipping assistance. Yeah, of course. Finally got it on my hands. Nice. That makes me happy to hear. Appreciate you supporting. All right. Let's dive into it. Let's get things going. What's up, Noxel? Hey, Eidolon. What's up, DJ Duck? Rayham. All right. Let us select who we're listening to first. What's up, Mattism? Looks like you're number one. This is a rare occasion. I feel like maybe Mattism stepped away for a moment here, not expecting to get picked immediately, which is pretty reasonable, honestly. So, why don't we maybe move on for now, and then we can always get back to Mattism as well. Looks like he may have stepped away for a moment. Remind him later. Yes, I think so too. All right, what's up, Ession? I feel like it's been a minute since I've heard one of your submissions. Oh, wait. Wait, Mattism is back. I had a call at the wrong time. It's all right. We will give Ession a moment here to find a link, and then we'll come back to you, Mattism. Okay, so this is a remix I've helped my students with. Inico is my student from France. Now I also started an alias to shed all the creative stuff for myself. This is one of the examples. Okay, nice. Let's check it out. Can you guys hear that okay?
My name's Pink and I'm really glad to meet you. You're recommended to me by some people. Hey, ooh, is this illegal? Hey, ooh, it feels illegal. I've suffered quite a few times with paranoia. Oh, I should name it, don't know what I should call you. Hey, ooh, he's 24, yeah. Hey, we're getting higher around my corner. Wow.
Yeah, I like it.
We'll meet again, my head works like it used to. And maybe next time I'll tell like I'll come through. I like the fact that we don't come in glad to meet you. My name is Pink and I'm really glad to meet you. You're recommended to me by some people. I think I smoked enough now to reach the both of us. But tell me why my heartbeat is in a rush. My name is Pink.
Is there an issue with the audio?
Recommended to me by some people. Hey, ooh, is this illegal?
You hear double kicks?
It feels illegal.
Not this again.
My name is Pink and I'm
Okay, sorry about that. You don't hear any doubles or echoes? Okay. So since it looks like this may have been a similar issue to what we had last week, so sorry about that. Can you just give me a brief second here? I want to test this again and just see if any of you guys are still hearing this issue. I don't really like doing live troubleshooting. I apologize, but I think I noticed that it looked like there was maybe audio being doubled through the screen grab capture source. So just let me know if this sounds normal to you now.
My name is Pink and I'm really
It's normal now? Okay, sweet. Awesome. That's great. Looks like we figured out what the issue was. Cool. I like the vibe a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on. Some good sound design. I think that it's got a nice vibe. I don't know. Feels like something that I would hear in H&M or something like that, or you know, one of those brands you pop into the store and there. I could imagine this being played in the background. So, I'm thinking like high level, everything is sounding quite good. I kind of felt like there's maybe just a little bit more room for little bit of ear candy or like more variation in the sound design. So like I'll try to give it a quick example here. So
My name is Pink and I'm really glad to meet you. Yeah.
it kind of feels like, for example, these intro chord stabs. Like they basically have the same settings for the majority of this intro. It'd be nice to have like some kind of automation going on, maybe some like little reverse reverb stabs, or maybe the cutoff is kind of changing positions on the filter, or yeah, it felt a little bit static, I guess, is the kind of one of my only complaints, because everything else is sounding really good. It's got a great vibe. I'm like, honestly, kind of hard to go wrong with the original, but I do really like what you guys did here. They are. This is me working with static stems. Gotcha. Yeah, I think that honestly is just kind of my only complaint about the track, because I like the vibe that you guys went with. It's kind of like the 4 to the floor, What what genre is the original? Obviously, it's Pink Panthers is obviously very pop oriented, but I can't remember. I must have heard the original at some point. I'm not sure like rhythmically what it's like. So I'm not sure if like the four to the floor thing was like that's a spin on the original kind of rhythm, but either way, it works really well.
You don't tell all your best mates. One after one, now you're sitting on my bed. Then later on, we can talk on it instead. Two into one while you're
Yeah, I just stand by what I said. I feel like there's lots of great stuff going on. Good sound selection, good arrangement, great flip of the original vocals. I think that writing style obviously suits her vocals very well. But the only thing is just it felt maybe a bit static at times, where there's maybe room for some more attention to detail, like a little drum fill here and there, or just a little bit more variation and automation, and just like a little bit less the feeling of like staticness. I don't know if I can explain it much better than that, but either way, it's a really dope remix. So thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. UK Garage, gotcha, yeah. UKG. Geotheory style, yes, 100%. I see that. Cool. All right, let's roll on. Oh, wait, Matism, do you have a link for us? We can, oh yeah, Zara, that was the other example I was trying to think of. But yeah, Matism, do you have, you got a link for us? All right. Let's see what else we got here.
I'm gonna hang myself.
Nice. Okay. I think that's roughly the chords that I was hearing. Actually, one thing that I'm pretty happy to say, considering that we've heard you submitting tracks for feedback for a few months now, actually, I think this one has the least mix issues out of everything that you've submitted so far. So, I think that probably, I think that's something to celebrate, in my opinion. There are still things I would change for sure, but it feels like an improvement, which is the important thing to be looking for as a producer. It's not about whether you're making bangers within 6 months or a year or whatever. It's just about whether you're making progress. And I feel like you are making progress, so that makes me happy to see that. Excuse me. So, that being said, I'm still hearing some kind of like unwanted clipping in the low end. Probably could do with like I don't know if you have some elements, like maybe a sub that's not being kind of like sidechained properly. It looks like the low end, I might need to take another closer look at that. And there's maybe like one moment here as well where the volume there's some vocal sample or something around here.
I'm gonna hang myself.
That's quite a bit too loud. So I would turn that down quite a bit. That little vocal shout or sample before this section here. Then the only other thing is and I think this is something that actually has also been recurring, is I would try to make sure that you have an understanding of what your chord progression is from like a music theory standpoint. At least this is how I would approach it if I were you. Basically what I'm hearing, it's something like that. So kind of like a C minor 7, a C minor 5, and then a G minor 7, and then an A flat minor 9-ish. Something like, A flat major 9. So that's roughly what I'm hearing, and I would try to make sure that all your elements are kind of like sticking to whatever the exact chord progression is that you're kind of playing with there, because at times it sounds like things are kind of wandering off a little bit into unwanted territory a little bit. So the sub is kind of doing something a bit different than what I would expect. It kind of goes like, we gotta follow up. So I think like a big part of the puzzle is maybe by starting to change those sub notes for you. So I would probably start by seeing, maybe you, instead of doing the C, I don't know exactly what the pattern is that you have currently, but either way, I would try to do C, C, G, A flat, and just see how that feels. And then if that feels good, then maybe on occasion you can start adding some little ghost notes or transition notes that are kind of like filling in the empty space. And things like that, of that nature. But overall, I would say I feel like this is an improvement over some of the stuff you've sent in the past. So thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. Cool. Let's choose the next winner. What else we got? What's up, Braham? What you got for us today? All right, let's check this out. What do we have here?
Already had one foot in the grave when you said it, calling me out for nothing. Wow, it's pathetic. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm seeing the smoke left. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm feeling the knife twist. You better calm down, it's getting out of hand. Never gonna be more than your backup plan. Wouldn't wanna touch your precious ego, man.
Cool.
Tell me you're not always like this.
Good track, man.
I was leaving out the back door, engine running. Still, I guess you left with something. You'll do it again just like it's nothing. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm seeing the smoke left. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm feeling the knife twist. You better calm down, it's getting out of hand. Never gonna be more than your backup plan. Wouldn't wanna touch your precious ego, man. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm seeing the smoke left. Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm feeling the knife twist.
Cool. All right, man. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. I like it. I feel like the so like high level. I think the writing is good. The production is good. The arrangement is good. You have a lot of the fundamentals of honestly just a good piece of music here. I think that I think I saw some of your notes down here about like a lot of the little bit of tender love and care that needs to go into it, and I very much agree with you. I think that as much of the foundation as you have already, I think now is a great time for you to dive into detail about all of these little moments and transitions, and the filling out certain sections that are a bit barren still, and a lot of like little kind of smaller decisions that would really help this track shine a lot. So for example, to your point as well about like the vocals, like if you think about processing vocals on a spectrum where like you have like raw take on one side, and you have like a super overly polished, highly tuned, highly processed vocal on the other side. I feel like this vocal is very much closer to the raw, very close to like the raw sounding side. So I think that there's definitely room for some more a little bit of melodyning and that kind of stuff. So I'm sure that you're already thinking about that. I think just kind of like maybe adjusting some of the dynamics to kind of give it a little bit more of a consistent presence in the mix too. To me, it feels at times like there might be a tiny bit too much dynamic range in the vocal possibly, but either way, let's I'm trying to think about what else to point out here, because there's a lot of little things that are hard to point out because they're all these independent little decisions. So like, for example, like this section here.
Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm seeing the smoke left.
It's possible that this section is a bit too empty. I think that it depends. It's a creative decision, of course, but I think that maybe like one or two more layers of additional elements, whether I can't picture right off the top of my head what to suggest there, but I would just say overall, for example, like this is something I noticed, like that felt a bit empty. I love this intro, by the way, this kind of like a rock halftime intro. So actually, one other small detail I noticed. Wait, before I say that, I do also just want to say I appreciate that. It sounds to me like you're working with an actual singer, and it sounds to me like you are probably tracking those guitars yourself as well. So I just want to thank you for, I don't know, putting in the effort in a time where more and more people are trying to take shortcuts with AI and that kind of stuff. So thank you for being one of the people that actually submits work that involves doing things yourself. So I just wanted to point that out. But that being said, so the vocal here and the guitar are playing very similar melodies, but they're also slightly different. And I think that I would address this by having the guitar mimic the vocal melody more closely.
Tell me you're not always like this. Think I'm seeing the smoke left.
Right? That's what she's doing. And then the guitar.
Tell me you're not always like this.
So, in my opinion, they're too closely related to be playing off of each other. It sounds more like they're two elements that should be matched in pitch almost 100%. So, for example, the guitar, it could still have that little kind of like pickup thing. You could include that, and then from then on, match the pitches of the vocal more closely. So I would just experiment with that a little bit. And then especially in the second, in the first phrase, it's not like super noticeable, but in the second one,
Think I'm seeing the smoke left.
her voice goes up to that G instead of down to the D, and the guitar goes down to the D again. I in my mind, again, the bottom line for me here is just that they're too similar. They either need to be more different or they need to be more similar. They're kind of in this kind of in between space in my mind. So that's a small detail that I thought might help.
Wanna be more than your backyard plan. Wouldn't want
So, you have the drop is really cool. I feel like it's cool to hear some like a call and response, melodic drum and bass. I will say right now, you have your A section with that kind of choppy melody, something like that. And then obviously some of the sound design switches up there for a little bit, which is like your B section for the drop. I would think that Yo Zero, thank you so much for the raid. We're just hanging out listening to some people's submissions today for Feedback Friday. I was just gonna say, maybe find ways to make that contrast even more interesting. So for example, like maybe there's a bit of a pad, a chord pad playing in the background for the A section, and then you omit that in the B section to kind of create a bigger contrast. I also think that B section bass sound design, it feels like it might need a little bit of fine tuning. It's it is cool sound design. It's got like this color-based quality to it, but I don't feel 100% sold on it. So I would just try to, I wish I listened to color-based more so I could give you better references here right off the top of the dome. But maybe Chime, Sharks, maybe those kind of people might be good reference points for color base. I think like AU5 has some color base as well. So, I mean, yeah, I know it's not really particularly great advice, but anyways, so there's a lot of like little decisions like that I think could just bring the track to the next level. I like the use of delay and reverb here. It's really nice to hear that kind of like in the background after the vocal stop. It's really it's a nice production touch. Think I'm feeling a knife twist, but I never saw it coming. I was leaving out the back door, engine running. By the way, I think that one of the reasons why I do feel that the vocals feel a little bit underproduced, which obviously, again, I've already addressed it, and I think that there's some things you wanted to do, but it sounds super mono kind of the majority of the time. Yeah, I'm just realizing that that's something that could be worth looking into. Maybe getting some additional vocal layers, whether they're harmonies or doubles or something for certain sections could be really nice, or to accent certain moments or phrases so that the vocal isn't just always sitting in mono. That's just some food for thought. You have harms and doubles. Okay, gotcha. Nice. So I might be kind of off there, but either way, it's a really great tune. Thank you so much for sharing. It is literally just a mono stem. Okay. Let's see. Is it too spicy harmonically? You're probably talking about like my thoughts on the bass sound design. Well, I like the pattern. It's like do da dee do da dee do. It's cool, and it works rhythmically. But I feel like the harmonics in the sound design don't feel as kind of like pleasing as they should be to listen to. That's just my take. You can also feel free to ignore me. So thank you so much for sharing, man. Really, really great piece of music here. Let's move on. What up, Josta? What you got for us today? All right, let's check this out. Nice. was gonna say I do recognize this track. I can see it's improved.
You have to understand how things are up here.
I might just have to go stupid. Hey. Hey. I might just have to go stupid.
Very cool. Yeah, I can see you made some improvements. It sounds really good. Lots of good stuff going on. I feel like, the arrangement is pretty strong. I think that there's a lot of good, like writing and production choices. It feels fun. It feels funky. It feels kind of like, damn it, Young Bay-ish. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that like funky four to the floor house, I don't know, kind of energy, and I like that kind of sound, so I like it. There's a lot of good stuff going on here, and congrats on releasing it. I think that if I were to give any thoughts, so I'm thinking a little bit about the impact of having like your sub and kind of like that kick drum and all these elements kind of popping in here, right here. That's kind of like obviously a big moment of the track, and part of me kind of wishes that the clap on the tune 4 was already there starting at that point. But I can understand how you still want to leave more of the track to be developed and kind of like, have other elements to keep building momentum and kind of developing the track. So I understand. I understand your thinking there. I think a lot of times in EDM, obviously one of the things you're looking to create a lot of the times is, that moment, that drop moment, right? And I think like, you don't need to ascribe to that mentality at all. But if you do want to, if I were to try to maybe critique the track through that lens, then that's what I would suggest, is like I would try to consider, like I would have maybe considered extending this intro a little bit and starting to foreshadow that little tremolo chop thing, and start foreshadowing that. And then you have this really sick fill happening here. That's what I would have going into like the 4 to the floor section, where you have essentially your full drum kit. But, it's all theoretical, right? I feel like in my mind that makes sense and it could work, but in a way, I think it's better to just kind of do things however you want to. So like I feel like sometimes when I'm giving feedback, I try to put on different hats for the sake of just having of hopefully providing some ideas that are useful in some capacity. But the reality is, like, what you have here is a great piece of music, and I would be happy to listen to it. You know what I mean? So, you can also disregard everything I just said. But the other thing I was gonna say too is that, like, wait, hold on. I like the chord progression. So it starts off around with that, like, B minor tonal center, and then obviously it starts shifting away gradually, and then by the time we get here, okay, hear me out. I actually do have an idea for you, because there's a million different ways you can produce, arrange, compose an idea, right? Listen here. So you have this thing over here, right? This, like, so to me, that chord progression, it creates a lot of tension that wants to be resolved by going back into that B section. So I almost wonder if it could have been cool maybe to, like, start the track with those kind of chords. So check this out, right? So just imagine that section is happening. Also, that little I like that a lot as well. It's a cool sound. But anyways, I think there was maybe just, bottom line for me is maybe there was an alternate arrangement that could have been, I don't know, a little bit, like, catchier almost. But at the end of the day, like I said, great piece of music, and thank you for sharing. So let's move on. Lots of good music today. Damn, I need to make an edit now. Hey, nobody's stopping you. What's up, Aurelian? What you got for us today? Next release. All right, that's exciting. Congrats. We're floating. Haywyre piano tracks? Hell yeah. I agree. gentle. It's cool. I love the pad sound design. Very cool. All right. Nice, man. It's a cool piece of music here. You know, I hadn't actually thought of this. I was just looking at the chat. I saw Rayhem said I could almost see this working as a drumless track, which is kind of true. Well, first of all, I'll just say that it sounds cool as it is. I think that you could totally create a an ambient version of the song. That would be pretty awesome. I wouldn't say like it's like my favorite genre or anything like that, but I do absolutely love listening to ambient music on occasion, going for walks, or there's something very rewarding and satisfying about hearing music that doesn't feel like it's constantly trying to grab your attention or pull you in this direction, pull you in that direction, and it just kind of gives you some space to, I don't know, just feel different things and kind of like, or explore them, right? And explore those feelings a little bit. I feel like ambient music is great for that. But either way, in terms of what you have right now, I do really like the drums. So I think it's cool to kind of try to start the track with this like really kind of low passed like 4 to the floor vibe. I think the rhythm of the low end, the sub, whatever is playing that low end, the rhythm of it feels slightly off to me. It's like, so I think I would want it to be a little bit straighter than it is right now. It sounds like the majority of the peak kind of presence of it happens off grid a little bit, I think. So like a very gentle version of that is what you have here, but it's like slightly, it sounds like it's slightly off grid. I think it might be because of the sidechain settings. So like my guess is that maybe it's just kind of like this one long continuous note that's being held, and the sidechain is ducking it, and then it makes it kind of sound as if it's kind of like kind of like popping in volume wise at a time that doesn't really match the grid super well. So that's something to think about, because I think that I would find it a little bit more satisfying if that was like a little bit more on grid somehow. But this riff in here, I really love that. I don't know, something like that. It's really cool. So I have a few different thoughts here, because I maybe I'm not a great person to be giving feedback, because I feel like whenever I want to give an opinion on something, I feel like I always have to preface it with like, well, these are just my 2 cents. Like, don't take this too seriously. And it probably gets exhausting to hear me say that constantly, but it's important to me to point that out, because it's like I never want to sound like I'm giving some kind of objective, suggestions here. We're all doing something extremely subjective, and so please feel free to ignore what I'm saying. But to Raham's comment earlier made me think about something with this track, where I feel like you're kind of in this in between space where, like, I think about, let's say, I hear aspects of ambient music in this idea, right? But then I also hear aspects of like prog house, right? Like I get some Deadmau5 vibes a little bit, but obviously this is like even like much gentler and much kind of like more toned down than a lot of those prog house tracks that Deadmau5 did. So here's my thought. I feel like you are somewhere in the middle there, which is really cool, but I almost feel like it ends up, at least for me, being kind of like neither something that I am able to kind of like jam out to a little bit more, like kind of like groove to a little bit more, and it is also not something that I feel that I'm, let's say, getting that kind of like effect of like ambient music, because there is that presence of like the consistent drums, right? So for me, it falls in this like little gray area where it's like it's kind of doing both, but I feel like it needs to kind of commit more. And like in my mind, like this section, the way that I hear it, this to me sounds almost like a build. I'm like hearing like these pads, this really beautiful riff is being introduced, and it to me it sounds like that riff is going to be like the hero of this next section, this next upcoming section. But then that riff goes away, which catches you off guard, and that's kind of cool in a way. My suggestion, my thought, like my instincts were to say, oh, that riff should potentially stay when the drums hit here, and I think that the drums here could use some really gentle additions, some like a couple of sounds that weren't there in the first minute and a half of the song. So I'll give you an example, like a soft shaker on the downbeats, like psh, so something like that, like psh, and then like maybe like a really tight short rim shot or something like that is not super intense in the mix, but kind of carries like a little bit of that forward momentum, and it feels like the track is kind of building and layers are more and more things are being introduced. And I just feel like just two elements like that have the potential to kind of like bring out just a tiny bit more energy there. But I understand if that's not your vision, that's not what you want to do, because it does catch you off guard that it kind of goes into this section and you don't hear the or whatever the riff is. So just some considerations. Just want to throw that out there. Those were the first things that came to my mind. So hopefully you release this tune. It's really, well, yeah, actually you said you will. So excited for that release to happen. Coldplay, Atlas, for sure. Nice. Very cool. Nice. Well, thank you for sharing. Let's keep moving. What's up, Eidolon? I think I'm gonna do Eidolon and then one more, and then I'm gonna call it for today. Just a heads up for y'all. Okay, let's check this out. What you got for us, Senor Eidolon? Oh, Delansky on the track. Wait, have you guys worked together before? Or is this the first? Where are we going? Very cool. I actually really like it. I didn't know what I would expect from you guys working together, but I really enjoy this. Kind of feels it's got like a little bit of a lo-fi kind of feeling to it, but then things start picking up a bit in the second half. I like it. It's cool. I don't feel like I have a good like reference point in my mind or anything specific to compare it to. So that kind of makes giving feedback a little bit more difficult. Oh yeah, that's right. Actually, one thing that did stand out to me. Well, okay, first, real quick, I think like, arrangement is good. Lots of great choices being made to introduce new elements and kind of progress the track. The mix is good. Nothing feels like it stands out or is problematic. Nothing feels like it's like way too quiet or way too loud, and that's always a good thing to notice. But the one thing I noticed is that the drum pattern has this kind of swung quality to it. But a lot of essentially the rest of the song overall is quite straight, very, very straight. So I feel there's a little bit of a conflict there in terms of like the swung kick drums and the swung vibe there versus like the straighter feeling in the rest of the song's elements. I wouldn't say that it doesn't work or it's somehow like a huge issue, but it was something that I noticed and it felt like there's a little bit of a mismatch there in my mind. So that's something to think about a bit. I really like that lead for some reason. I don't know why. I know it's kind of like got like the chiptune vibe, but I like it. But anyways, thanks for sharing. Yeah, everything is intentionally swung to different degrees. Drums are full triplet. Main drop is okay, interesting. But maybe that doesn't translate well. OTT square waves. Hell yeah, let's go. OTT. Bet you didn't expect Miku. Okay, let's move on. Thanks for sharing, Eidolon. Appreciate it. What's up, Sir AA Wong? What's going on? Yeah, last one, unfortunately. I'm sorry, y'all. I am pretty exhausted today, and I have some really important stuff I need to work on off stream as well. So it is not a long stream today. Forgive me. What up, what up? What you got for us today? No pressure, but it's the last track, so this needs to be the best song everyone's heard. So yeah, no pressure. Sketch you wrote last night. All right, let's check it out. Right, exactly, DJ Duck. Cool idea. There are times where it feels a little bit flumy. Especially these sections. Very cool. I was really digging Flume this week. Oh, no way. Okay. Well, I see the influence. It's a good starting point for a track. I can tell it's a bit rough around the edges, but that's totally fine. I definitely think that there's a I see the vision. I see the Flume influence in certain areas. It's not all like doesn't sound to me like excessively flumy or anything, but I do see the inspiration there. I think that overall the mix felt very probably the roughest. Like the arrangement is working well. I think you have a lot of good motifs and sound design and those kind of things. It's got like a little bit of a kind of like this lazy, almost like cool, sloppy vibe to it with these trippy synths, and I enjoy it. It's cool. I think to pull it off, to make it feel more kind of convincing, definitely improving the mix will go a long way. So paying attention to especially like in the low ends, there was some stuff going on throughout the track that the sub and the kick and stuff. Maybe on occasion, I feel like I was hearing like some stereo in the sub, and just like in general, like the sidechain settings felt like kind of they needed some work. So that's the first thing really, is just like the mix needs some improvement for sure. So, you know, if Flume is an inspiration for this track, totally bust out some reference, do some referencing, you know, just for inspiration in terms of like, ooh, how does his kick drums feel in his track? How do his snares feel in this track? And all those kind of things it's always helpful to have a reference point. You know, if there is a relevant one, then why not look at how a very talented producer does what they do? I feel like there's always something to learn by doing some analysis on other producers' work that could be relevant. You don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. You know, you don't want to compare yourself too much to other people, of course. But I think that, you know, it's kind of a similar thing to gaining inspiration from an artist. I think in a more obvious sense, in terms of maybe like being inspired by their sound design or their melodies or something like that. I think you could also be inspired by their mix and like how certain elements are placed in a mix. And I think that is as much of a creative choice as, you know, deciding what kind of chords you want to use. Is like, how are you mixing certain elements in a track? That is an art form in and of itself. But anyways, I think that back to your track, I just think, just more attention to detail. Try to own in on those elements that might be kind of clashing a bit. But it's cool. There's all these kind of like breathing and moving sounds that are kind of fading in and out, and I think that's really interesting. So I like a lot of the ideas you got going here. It's just a matter of, you know, that tender love and care. You know, keep working at it and keep referencing maybe some greats for inspiration in terms of you know, mix downs and that kind of stuff. But One other thing, this is kind of a random detail, but I kind of wanted. So there's this lead that sticks on that F. Two things. One, I feel like it's a bit too static there. It's being exposed, and it's just kind of like this very static single note being played. So I feel like I have a couple of ideas for you. One, I feel like you should slowly pitch bend it up to the G, so that by the time that downbeat hits, the lead is playing a G instead of an F. Da, da, like that. And then add a little bit of vibrato to it too. That would be nice. Because then it kind of like does the voice leading for that minor 9. Da, versus da, which is a little bit less interesting, I think. But just a random thought for you to experiment with. So anyways, appreciate you sharing this tune, and that's probably gonna be it from me for today, y'all. Thank you so much for sharing your tunes. Much appreciated. And I'll be back on Sunday. Hey, what's up, partner? Thank you for the sub. And for some reason, I'm wearing all gray again today. I don't know why. Thanks for your time. Yeah, I mean, I always get inspired by what you guys are up to. So, got some very, very talented people out there. All right, enjoy your weekend, y'all. I'll see you on Sunday. And it is the beginning of the last month of the season. So I think I will be. I'll just kind of like end the season after May, even though I'm not gonna just like completely stop streaming or anything like that. I'll come up with a new schedule and stuff for June. But for May, I'll stick to the Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday kind of thing. And yeah, we'll do that for May, and then June we'll kind of switch over to a new format. We'll see what that is. Maybe I'll kind of focus on sticking to like the Feedback Fridays. I think that's really fun for me. And then maybe kind of toning down how often I'm streaming, working on my own music. But anyways, the network is signing another season of Haywyre. Something like that. But yeah, take care, y'all. Have a good weekend. And thanks for sharing your tunes with me. Peace.